deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
Thank you very much for that, Ian Wright, man. People deluded, I'm back again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Of course, in some cases, good night. If you're on Twitch, one love, make sure you're smashing that like button. If you're on YouTube, appreciative to all of you lot joining me for my second live stream. Just had a wonderful stream with Shirley. Bigger up. Make sure you check that out either now, because you can always watch this on a replay, or when it's finished if you still want your DG fixed. Now, again, we know it was nice to get 3 points against Fulham. Nice to see Emil Smith-Rowe and all of the players on either side with Arsenal connections. Lovely to see Saka back. Bit nervy about what's going on with Gabriel Magalhaes and Jurriën Timber, in which I'm not actually sure if Mikel Arteta is giving his press conference Thursday, today, or tomorrow, Friday, in the build-up to Everton away. And there's plenty of talking points with Everton away. And obviously, the big one, midweek, Tuesday, I believe. It's not Wednesday, is it? And I should know that. Yeah, I should know that. But we got Real Madrid and we faced the prospect. Well, anyways, we knew we faced the prospect of playing Real Madrid with a depleted side. Even if everyone was fit, it still would have been peak. But yeah, to have Mikel Merino, who is in good form, but is not a striker. Young Nwaneri and Lewis Skelly were great players, but it's a big task. Saka, obviously, it's great. He scored and whatnot, and he looks fresher than he's ever been. Slight exaggeration, but we don't know what's going on there. I don't know. Such is life. And Saka looks a lot fitter than I would have assumed. He might start against Everton. I reckon if he does start, he gets an hour, maybe 70 minutes max. But then I also feel he'll just come off the bench against Everton, get minutes, keep getting minutes and stuff like that into the engine and shake off the ring rust. And then if you are to gamble rightly or wrongly on Bukayo Saka starting the game, it probably would be Real Madrid. We'll get into it, but I think the Crystal Palace games and Liverpool games have been rescheduled as well. I've seen just before we went online, people. So yeah, big up you lot, man. In a world full of Shirley, be a DG. I hear it. Hey, now big up Shirley, man. I don't know how she puts up with my trolling, but big her up. She's a good sport, man. She's obviously very intelligent, and I think she puts her points across well. And if I didn't believe that, she wouldn't be here. It's as simple as that, isn't it, really? So yeah, we can have a laugh and a joke and speak about football seriously. So yeah, man, it's always nice to open up the DG doors for people like her and many. So yeah, but you are right. In a world full of Shirleys, be a DG, man. No disrespect. That Shirley looks kind of good. Run that thing, DG. Oliver, take a touch, man. Big up Shirley. You know, for me, we just get good content creators, you know, but, you know, I think I'm the most handsome YouTuber, so I can't begrudge you for, you know, liking a bit of eye candy. But yeah, man, take a touch, man. Take a touch. Don't be like Odegaard shooting from everywhere, man, or Thomas Partey. Campster, one love. Saka should not be starting against Everton, but get 25 minutes at least. Honestly, I think we can have concerns about Bukayo Saka naturally. You know, the whole debate about Saka playing a lot of football prior to his lengthy layoff has been quite, you know, well reported, if I'm going to say so. Yes, it's quite well reported. He's come back, give or take. I reckon if we knew Mikel Arteta personally or the club personally, I think in hindsight, I think he's been a lot fitter and a lot ahead of schedule, and the rehab program to get him there, and maybe general confidence of Saka being able to play again this season. Internally, I think Arsenal have been a lot more confident that lead B. Now, we have to manage the minutes carefully. You know, it's very easy to do the, oh, I told you so, Saka's cool. Or if he gets injured against Everton, God forbid, or Real Madrid, I told you so. We're going to have to play it by ear. We're going to have to be very calm with Saka, but he looks quite good, man. And he looks, I'll be honest, he looks like he could start. You know, you could say he's running on adrenaline and it weren't that many minutes. And in hindsight, against Fulham, it was probably the perfect game for him to be blooded back into. But he looks very fit. He looks very fit. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts against Everton. You got your minutes against Fulham, couple of days rest and recovery and training and all of that. Start against Everton. Obviously, Everton. They got that left back. He always has a great game against Saka, innit? What's his name, man? The Ukrainian lad. Molinyenko, forgive me for mispronunciation or something of that ilk. He always has a good game against Saka. And I would say beyond the obvious, the one thing with Saka is he gets doubled up against, tripled up against, clamped, kicked from pillar to post and all of that kind of stuff. So we'll have to play it by ear. It wouldn't surprise me. I must admit, I do think he needs more than 25 minutes against Everton. It would not surprise me if he does get 25 minutes siege just to keep ticking over. But it also equally wouldn't surprise me if he starts and gets 45 minutes to an hour, regardless of how it pans out. Even on the topic of Everton, I think we need to go as strong as we can. I think we need to get 3 points for 3 points' sake. I think we need to try and end the season as strong as we can and ultimately build a bit of momentum. Like, you beat Fulham, saw Saka back. all of, Marino's finding his goal scoring touch. Again, you can't hype up Martinelli's 90 minutes, but it was good. Bert has been announced. Gyökeres links that are a bit irrelevant to what I'm suggesting, but feel good factor. I think we need to just play our strongest team, and Everton are a team in good form. Probably very unfortunate unfortunate to lose yesterday. You look at Diaz's offside. You look at Beto, who's in good form. Bit debatable. It's their last season. Forgive me if I'm wrong at Goodison Park. David Moyes is doing well since he's returned there. We know what we're going to expect. It's going to be low blocks, deep blocks, set pieces. Living and the fans living and breathing every kick. It's one of those typical games in the Premier League, people per se. And even, you know what? Yeah. Tarkowski's a lucky man, Tarkowski, because he should not be eligible to play against us. That is how VAR couldn't give him a red card against Liverpool. I don't know. And I'm not saying he's got malice or he's going out there to hurt people or any of that ilk here, but it makes you a bit. And just like Marcel saying here, man, you guys don't want Saka to start against Everton. Those guys are some barbarians. Tarkowski will take someone's leg off. How that wasn't a red, I have no clue. How the ref missed it first time, I have no clue. But whether I agree with referees or not, I can say, you know what, maybe human error. How VAR didn't get involved, I don't know. I don't think Tarkowski or anyone does that on purpose. And likewise, I also think McAllister is lucky that he not only continued the game, but your season isn't over, really. It is reckless play. But whether you're an Arsenal fan, Liverpool fan, Everton fan, Chelsea fan, Fulham fan, whatever fan of whatever club, we clearly give referees a tough time. But also at the same time, like, are we shocked by the level of incompetence? Are we shocked at the level of incompetence and these inconsistent decisions, both in terms of the two offsides, give or take? I haven't seen the reasoning. And obviously Tarkowski, I don't think we can really. And definitely as an Arsenal fan, I can't say I'm surprised or anything close to that, man. It's a madness. Big up, Sasha. You've been missing. Call me dumb, not related to transfers or anything. People can ask and say what they want to say, man. You're not dumb. You can ask whatever you want. Not related to transfers or anything. But what if we play Rice centre-back against Madrid? It's an option. Rice was a centre-back by trade, but it's like, this is the thing with, but I think Mikel Arteta does it, and I think it's more of an Arsenal thing because we hardly have any players, but we've got one absentee or something, and it creates a knock-on effect. But if he goes, the one thing is like with Partey right back, if Rice goes centre-half and Partey goes right back, who the hell is in midfield? I'm tempted to play Kieran Tierney. I do think Lewis Skelly doesn't start against Everton. He looked knackered. He should start, but I think he looked knackered against Fulham in the end. He's played a lot of minutes. We need him against Real Madrid. He probably would and deserves to start there. So I think Tierney will naturally play. I think Tierney will play. I think Kivy will play. I think Saliba will play. I think what Partey will go right back. It all depends on Benjamin White, man. But if we skip forward to Real Madrid, and we all pray and hope that, of course, Gabriel Magalhaes, it's not that serious. He's going to get game time and the show keeps moving. But if we assume Magalhaes isn't there, well, to be fair, if we're going to assume Magalhaes ain't there, which is the most serious injury out of him, Benjamin White and Timber, if we're going to assume Magalhaes ain't there, then we should really assume Timber and White aren't there, at least today on Thursday, innit? Now, if we assume Gabriel Magalhaes, Timber, and White are not there, boy, God knows what we do. I think we should go to a back three. I can't say I see Mikel Arteta doing that. So it would be my back five, including Raya. Easy, Raya. For Everton, yeah. What should we do for Madrid? Well, for Everton, Kivy or Saliba, Partey, Tierney. For Real Madrid, God forbid, and we assume those three are not there, Lewis Skelly left back, Kivy or centre half, and I'll be very concerned because I think beyond the obvious quality Gabriel Magalhaes has, we lose him. We lose him. We lose a leader, and anyone that's played football, that communication, leadership, someone making sure everyone's doing that. I don't see the leaders. Like I think Saliba is good, but Saliba's got the big bro in terms of Gabriel, and even for France, him and Kanate kind of need to learn that. That's why I think they've got a good partnership. But that's why I think Ivor look better with Upamecano because he's clearly the more vocal one, and you'd be relying on Saliba. So assuming everyone's out of the Madrid game, Lewis Skelly. Definitely not Zinchenko. Lewis Skelly, Kivior, Saliba. Well, there's no one else. Partey's going to have to go right back, to which you look, obviously, you look in our midfield. What the hell goes on there? What the hell do we do in that regards? I mean, I might be exaggerating because you could play Jorginho, Rice, and Odegaard. Rice and Jorginho typically, I think in Rice's time at Arsenal so far, his best football has come when Jorginho's played. We're fucked. Or you could drop Marino into midfield and go with Trossard or Martinelli through the middle, and then everyone picks up the pieces, between Wanyeri, Saka, and etc. It's one where I'm happy I'm not Mikel Arteta. I'll be real, man. It's all calm, man. Whatever you've got going on in your life, I hope it's positive. I hope it's positive. I hope it's positive. But if it's negative, you're gonna get through it, man. And we're all praying and hoping for you. Big up, just in from work. What have I missed? It's nice to see all my regulars. My favorite black cab in the circle. Shout out to you. Wouldn't mind Rice going centre back, but who would the midfield be? Are we really going to test Wanyeri in the left 8? Against Real Madrid, we're not. And I think based on what we're speaking about, I think every Arsenal fan could say we need to bring in quality additions to our starting 11, and we also need quantity. Now, quality and quantity is a twofold. I think in the summer, that needs to be something. Arteta keeps referring to the fact that we've got a small squad, one of the smallest in the league. He keeps saying the magical number 19. And where you look at it, either whether it's through contracts, shifting team dynamics, players needed to be moved on. How many players do you look at in our team, and think you've got a long-term future here, quote unquote? Whether we want to move certain man on or not, whether it's because of injuries or big wages, they're not going. But how many players have no speculation over their future? Asterix, we know Saliba, Gabriel, and Bukayo Saka we're not trying to sell. But based on what we see with the deals until 2027 and the fact that they haven't signed extensions, you could throw them in. We need more bodies. A squad of 19 competing in four trophies, it doesn't make sense. And the core of our squad, quote unquote, they're playing a lot of games for club. They're playing a lot of games for their countries. You look at the last 2 seasons prior to this season and also this season, and what all players will face next season with a World Cup. The fixture calendar list for footballers in general, not even just an Arsenal thing, it's getting crueler and crueler. You've seen the club championship, club World Cup championship, whatever they call it, extended. There's more games in the Champions League now. There's more friendlies at international level than we could bank on. Obviously, you kind of go back to the COVID period until now. There was back-to-back international tournaments. Couple men are playing in Copa America. It's one thing playing for England in the country the majority of us live in. Shout you overseas folk. But then you've got Partey playing a lot of football, flying off to Ghana and doing all those things over there and all these others. We need a bigger squad. And when you look at this magic number 19 that Mikel Arteta refers to, when you really break it down, who's really durable? Like our durable players, there's no coincidence. We've got one of the smallest squads. Our manager doesn't rotate or even like throughout Saka's time, take him off for 10 minutes here, 5 minutes here, just that kind of thing. You look through our squad, who's really durable? Like there's got to be there's got to be something in the fact that we've got one of the smallest squads. We've had one of the most. I think in the Prem we've had the most hamstring injuries, and it's been to the players that play 9 times out of 10 week in, week out. I'm not saying he should or shouldn't have, but even when we're 7-1 up against PSV, could you have taken Gabriel Magalhaes off? Could there have been times throughout the season so far? And I understand it because we got a small squad, not necessarily the fact that we're 7-1 up and he didn't, but there's also something to be said about depth, but the drop-off, like you take Gabriel Magalhaes out that side. Obviously, Wanyeri's emerged now, but typically you take a Saka, a Wanyeri, a Rice, Saliba. We all know the key players and their absences are felt. So between Arteta, Berta, even Arteta said we've got be excited. We want to add to the depth and all of that. Whether it correlates, I don't know. But between Mikel Arteta, his coaching staff, Berta, all the people, Richard Garlick, all them kind of ones, you have to look at this squad either in the summer, from last summer going into this summer, the January period, and everything in between. We need more numbers. It's a simple smash the like button, by the way, folks. Mods keep making sure we're banging on that case. We need more numbers. And when you break it down through this magic number 19, we're not necessarily surprised the injuries that we see or the players getting injured. Like obviously Calafiori, it's more of a hindsight thing, but he did have some serious injuries in his career. But Calafiori picks up knocks. We all know Zinni picks up knocks. I don't think the bookies will pay up too much money if Tomiyasu is going to be missing for large chunks of the season. Who else is there? Jorginho picks up a couple of knocks here and there, if I'm honest with you. The vast majority of the squad and everybody else, like the more durable players have been running to the ground. Injuries happen, innit? Like there's very few players that have been ever present this season. What, Kivio ain't had no injuries, forgive me if I'm wrong. Saliba, I want to say yes, but also want to say no. Magalhaes has had concussion and whatnot, and his current climate. Timbers missed out a couple of weeks, did very well after coming back from an ACL. Probably played more minutes than him, the physios, and Arsenal would have banked on. It's sad to say, but I think when you look at Benjamin White and Saka and Kai Havertz and to a degree Martinelli, whether we believe these players are good enough or not, we probably owed this, especially Benjamin White. You go back a few years where Rob Holding was doing all those interviews and saying he's played with hamstring knocks and etc. Who's the centre-half partnership you think should start, DJ? I think I covered that. The work rate is outstanding, large up. Only because of you lot, man. Only because of you lot. I don't trust Kivio. I like him, but he can't play against pace. He's got no personality, man. I don't want to pile on Kivior, but you've got no personality. You're not an authoritative, commanding kind of centre half. It might give you a spring in your step because you wasn't going to play against Real Madrid and you've got an opportunity. And I guess like I'm sure all footballers obviously want to win World Cups and Prems and champs, but to say you've played at the Bernabeu against Real Madrid, this is what you want. Even when Kivior signed for this club, the dynamics then and now is very different. So that could give him a boost, but even our strongest team will struggle. I just think people are going to look at Kivior like your food. I think he struggles in wide positions. I think this all applies to Calafiori as well. And I don't want to be that guy, but I still wouldn't necessarily think we're going to roll over Real Madrid or anything like that. But going into that game, I would love to have Kai Havertz. I would love to have Gabriel Jesus. Whatever I say about those players, it's one of them two-legged ties. You just got to get the job done. I think there's stuff that you could do with them. Naturally, you would want Saka in his best run of form. You would want Saliba. You'd want Gabriel. You'd shit. Tomiyasu off the right or the left, it could be all right. Like, but to have Tomiyasu not there, Calafiori not there, we hope for the best around Timber. It's a madness, man. It's an absolute madness. We're just gonna have to get on with it, like it to that degree. It kind of is what it is, man. Like, and if Ben White's fit, how fit is he? Is it a thing where he could have been in the match day squad against Fulham? You said, you know what? Let's not risk it. He'll be there against Everton. And then if we have to gamble, you'll gamble against Real Madrid. But the physical conditioning isn't ideal. And we've obviously been done dirty, very dirty, and been dealt a harsh hand with injuries. But we can't say as a football club we put our best foot forward, man. Big up my guy, man. Make sure you're following Arsenal Revolution. Need to get you back on the platform. You think Antonio Silva would fit Arteta's system? Yes, but we're not spending the money required on him. Likes up, subs up. Let's go. The work rate is stupendous. Appreciate that. Arteta won't start Tini because that changes the way we build up, which Arteta never wants to compromise, which is why we see stupid shit like Partey at right back. That's true. But surely against Everton, you've got to. I heard Arsenal train on a car park. What a silly rumor. I don't know if they do. Fair enough. Raya, Timber, White, Gabby, Saliba, MLS, Rice, Wanyeri, Saka, maybe Odegaard. They're probably the only ones whose long-term futures are safe if they chose to stay here. Exactly. But then even when you break it down, we need to, I'm exaggerating, but we need to get that. We need to get new contracts for Lewis Skelly, Wanyeri, Saka, and probably and Saliba. Then you look at Odegaard. I'm not being that guy, but if we were to remove emotion and just look at it like a job, you're the captain. So if that was a normal 9 to 5, you're like a top ranking manager or CEO of a firm. You're being paid a lot of money. Obviously, we know he's been injured. We're not advocating for scapegoating and stuff, but are you doing your job? Are you doing what you deserve? Are you doing everything to get the keep that you do get? Because he's won like 240k. I'm not saying we're going to sell him and no one ain't buying him, but you'd imagine in the next year or two, Berta is going to be looking at that because you can go through our squad now. I've gone through our wages before, and I mean we might as well win it. I'm gonna have Jess here at 3 p.m. We'll do that again because I want to get her thoughts. But if you look through our wages, who's really earning that level of keep? Really? Obviously, we signed players at different times, and maybe Arteta has identified the wrong talent, and equally Edu's negotiated shit deals. But whether they've been good or not, like without getting into the isms and schisms, Kai Havertz on 280k a week, that's something to review. Obviously, everybody here would agree. 265 grand on Gabriel Jesus, that's something to review. Rice, calm, Odegaard, at this moment in time, with the form that you're in, if this continues and you don't buck up your ideas in what's left of this season and you get back to it next season, that's something that's going to have to be under review. I don't know what the future holds for Thomas Partey, but it's fair to assume he's walking out of the club. He's under contract until the end of the season, so he's gone. Saka is Saka, needs a bit more than that. And if I'm Saka's agent, hang about, are any of these 5 names arguably more important than me? Have they got the streets like me? I would literally say if I was Saka's agent, my client's name was read out at the Emirates. I was there, like read out at the Emirates. Couple man will score goals for Arsenal Football Club and you will not hear a roar like that. That's something that's going to need to go up. And then also, if you bring in all the players that we've been linked with, handle all the new deals that need to be handled, at some point, you're going to have to review a couple of these names. Like Rice is probably going to sign a new deal in the next year or couple of years. He's going to need more money. Gabriel Jesus is calm. Obviously, we're not selling him because he's injured at this moment in time, but he's on 265. Saliba's going to need an uptake. Martinelli, a bit like Odegaard. I don't think you're under immediate danger, but 180 grand a week, especially if you bring in a Nico Williams or something of that ilk, you're looking at that one and saying what's going on there. Zinchenko, 150. We all know what should be said there. Rice, calm. Mikel Merino, you're here for a long time, and I don't mean this in a disingenuous way, but you could argue you wasn't a midfielder we necessarily needed beyond being a floor raiser. He had a year left on your deal at Sociedad. Sociedad got 40 odd million quid for him. Him at 28 on 130 grand a week. He's laughing. You hear rumors Arsenal want to sign a midfielder or two. So if we sign Zubimendi and another one, you've still got Rice. You've got Odegaard, you could do stuff there. Lewis Skelly, asterisk, whether he's going to be a left back or centre mid. Wanyeri, whether he's going to cut out a career as a false nine, like Arteta said, off the right wing, like with Saka in the 10 or whatever. We'll have to see. Calafiori, I understand it, 22 years of age, probably signed a 4 or 5 year deal. If the injuries keep going, we might have to review that. Raya, probably underpaid, if I'm honest. Tomiyasu, you lot know me, I love Tomiyasu, but for as much as things that I like about you and what you're good at or not good at the end of the day, if you're not available, that's an issue. Obviously, we're shaving Tierney, like Partey, Georgie, like Tierney, like Partey, Tierney and Jorginho. That's, you know, significant resources shredded off the wage bill. 100 and like what? Tierney's on 110, Jorginho's on 110. Obviously, Sterling's going back. Magalhaes deserves a wage bill. Bloody hell, mate. And let this be a lesson. Football mirror society, like, it's not how good you are, you know, it's what you can negotiate for yourself. Of course, people are signing contracts at different times, but if life was fair and as white and black as the better player you are, the better you are at your job, you get more paid, you get paid. You wouldn't see the list looking like this, would you? And for what it's worth, I don't know why, but Fabio Vieira and Reece Nelson are not listed here. And I don't know how much Fabio Vieira earns. There was rumors Nelson's on like 100 grand a week. And again, I'm sure these players want to play football and move on, but it's one thing saying these players ain't good enough, move them on, yada, yada, yada. It's another thing actually doing it. We hope Berta can earn his chops in that regards. Bearing in mind, we're not going to see all the players flushed out and all them brought in. Some players might be comfortable in London. Some might think they can fight for their spot. Some might think they can just stay at Arsenal. Arsenal might want to move people on and there's no offers, or we get offered bids that we don't find acceptable, or we do get offers that are acceptable and the player doesn't get the wages he wants. I'm not sure. And I look at Gabriel Jesus more so for 2027. I think he falls into that. I think Kai Havertz, yeah, you could be a good squad player. And, you know, if you do the business, you're not lost your spot, but that's something to review. There's many question marks. There's many question marks. Whether you want to call it a revamp or a rejig, I don't know. I don't quite think it's a rebuild. But then you could caveat that and say there's about 10, 11 players of this 19 to 23 man squad, including Lewis Skelly and Wanyeri, that could be moved on. If it was white and black as we want to sell you an upgrade, you get it. So is that not a rebuild? Yes, we need play. Yes, we're going to keep the core or hope to keep the core, like our good players. We all know 9 times out of 10, everyone fit. Gabriel, Saliba, Timber White, David Raya, you know, the Rices of this world, the Sakas of this world, because he's our captain, Odegaard, all of those kind of ones, they're gonna be here. But you lot get where I'm going. You can make a case of a number of these footballers. Like, some are going to leave because they're on paper leaving. Some are being linked with moves away. Some, I'm sure, Arsenal will actively push to move on. And likewise, some I feel won't quite exactly be pushed through the door, but the club are quote unquote open to offers. And you've also, another one on the list is, oh no, sorry, I'm lying. Lokonga actually is there. So yeah, like Kai Havertz isn't going to be moved on. But if there was an opportunity to reclaim fifth, well, maybe not, and he is 25. In an ideal world, if we look at the fact that he signed for Chelsea for 70 million, they made a £5 million loss, even though he did score the Champions League winning goal for them. And we signed him for 65. This isn't going to happen, but let's just assume we also take a 5 million loss and we get a bid of 60 million from whoever. Obviously, we need a squad, and he's valued by the manager, and he would have to leave, bearing in mind he's got a missus. I think they've had a kid. He's clearly valued, smash the like button by the manager. From a working point of life, if you're comfortable in London, your family's comfortable, it's a positive working environment because the manager likes you, playing for you, bought you, etc. You're clearly trusted by your teammates. You're calm. Bearing in mind he's got a hamstring knock as well, and I don't know how that plays into next season. But if in an ideal world, or somewhat an ideal world, a 60, we might as well do it together, people. In an ideal world, if we just assume that Chelsea made a £5 loss, £5 million loss, we also take a £5 million loss. Are you if £60 million bid for Kai Havertz? Are you lot taking that? I think you all are, myself included. Gabriel Jesus, you're not getting any. I don't think you're getting anything, but let's just say as low ball as 20 million. I don't know if I think there's an asterisk, but if there was certain offers, people would take that. We're going to take a loss anyways, but I think people just want Gabriel Jesus gone. Would you be against if a suitable offer came in for Kai Havertz, moving him on? Yes. Would you be with Gabriel Jesus? Probably. Rice, I'm keeping. Odegaard, I'm keeping. But asterisks, we have to. You need to get back to it, really. Partey, would you give him a new deal? He's played out of his skin. It is the last year of his deal. Is he gonna, go revert back to type next year? I don't know. If we bring in a centre middle too, are we going to keep Partey, especially on those wages? Is he open to accepting a wage bill, or does he want to go back to Spain, go to Saudi? There's no offers we can accept for him because he's gone. There are some rumors there's a 1-year extension in his deal. I don't know, and I don't want to do the speculation thing, but we all know the off the field rumblings that might be a reason as to it's been radio silence there. I don't know, people, but he's being moved on. Saka, we're not selling him unless it's stupid. Saliba, the same. Martinelli, I think people would be open to offers. He's on 180 grand a week, a bit like Odegaard. If you don't get back to it, we are going to have to review that. And again, he's also contracted until 2027 as well. I don't know if he's got an option in his contract, but people, quote unquote, would be open to offers for him, right? People would be open to offers for Zinchenko. White's going to be needed. Marino's not going anywhere, but squad player. I think people will be open to offers for Marino, but he's staying. Calafiori, he's staying. Tini's gone. Jorginho's gone. Sterling's going back. Raya's calm. Tomiyasu, not because of ability, more, I would say, fan frustration because you're not staying fit, would be open to offers in an ideal world, right? We're keeping Magalhaes. Of course, if 100 million is offered, I'm not saying I would accept it or you should accept it, but that's the only thing that's going to tip that balance. Everyone's keeping him. Everyone's keeping Timber. Would you be open to offers on Trossard? Probably. Would you be open to offers on Kivior? Probably. Neto is going back. We're keeping the Haylenders in Wanyeri and Lewis Skelly. Tavares is gone anyways. It's a loan with an option to buy. Lokonga is gone. Well, he's going to have a year left on his deal, so they're going to make a decision. Fabio Vieira, I'm not sure what happens there, but again, if an offer was placed, the club would be open to offers. So throughout that list, I've probably said more people or more players that are either leaving or we would all be open to offers more than staying, right? So I'm questioning my own logic. I don't think it's a rebuild. It's more a revamp. But is it a case of just two different names for the same old thing? Vast majority of this squad has been here for 3 years, give or take some longer. And for a variety of reasons, whether it's injuries, changing team dynamics, players stagnating on one hand and other players stepping up to the table, it doesn't surprise me that heading into year 4 of us fighting for a title, that there will need to be some changes and rejigs and all of those kind of things, people. So it all depends where you essentially want to go with it, people. If I'm honest with you, keep smashing the like button. Smash the like button on the way in, people. It doesn't cost much. You're moving mad. Every elite club needs a 30-plus-year-old midfielder of quality, even if they don't play all the time. Leaving Odegaard and Rice to their own device is long. Big up yourself, Rainmaker. To be fair, I was thinking about this last night, and I thought maybe I'm exaggerating. It does feel like on paper there's a lot of quote-unquote experience that could be departing the club. It's a rebuild if you want to convince the likes of Saliba to stay. It's a revamp if we can stomach Saliba leaving. We have to keep Partey purely on experience. Rice can't be the eldest statesman at the club. I'd sell Zinni, Kivior, Trossard, let Jorginho and Partey leave, as it doesn't seem contract talks are imminent to free up some of the wage bill. Jesus as well, but he is injured. Defensive reinforcements needs to be considered this summer. Hincapi, Jay, I can't say Ladislav. Yeah, that one's a myth. Scholar bet would be a good shout. They're going to cost a lot. Bring me Jarrell Hatto, man. Bring me Jarrell Hatto from Ajax immediately. Big up DG. We must get rid of injury-prone players and players who aren't good enough. Tommy Jesus, thank God we didn't buy Sterling. He can start walking back to Chelsea now. Harsh. Odegaard has dropped countless stinkers, but he's rolling safe with that captaincy on him. With the idea he was out for a time, he don't need to work his way back into the team. I still have belief in Odegaard, but he really needs competition. We need to start dropping him some weeks for Wanyeri, make sure his issues aren't anything to do with complacency. I don't think they are. I just think he needs to get back in it. And I just think sometimes, how if you're having a good season, everything goes to gold. In the same way, if it's going bad, it's going to keep being shit. He just needs to get his act together. It's as simple as that. You need to get your act together or you have to be dropped. It's sink or swim. It don't matter how good you were in 2023, 2022, 23. It doesn't matter what you did last year. It don't even matter what you did in the first half of this season, sorry. It's about where we're at. And if you're not consistently evolving, then I don't want to say people are being complacent, because I don't think the players are. I think the club is. You're stagnating. Some of the names that we were just speaking about leaving, there was one point, they were the first names on the team sheet. Some of them helped get us to where we need to go. The first 6 months from Gabriel Jesus, quality. First season, give or take, apart from Anfield, Zinchenko, inverted fullback, doing his thing. Partey, You've been here since the start of Mikel Arteta's reign, essentially. Gabriel Magalhaes has gone the distance as well. In those 5 years, he's got better and better. Saka since busting through way before Arteta. So, yeah, White isn't safe for me. Another season like this, he's on the chopping block and bring me a Diamande or someone of that profile. What's White done this season? The man's got injured. Now I'm keeping White still. Like, White was one of the first names on the team sheet. I think it's good competition with him and Timber. I want to stay wary, but I think they're both versatile, quote unquote. Yeah, I think White's safe still. White would be safe for me. Maybe if we fix all the areas we need to fix and get the ball rolling how we need to, there might be a reality where, yeah, White could be moved on. But out of all the question marks, I allow that, man. Timber and Saliba pairing for me. Stick Partey right back and Rice double pivot in front of them. Make a box four in our defensive third. I'm happy I am not Mikel Arteta because he's got some big questions to answer for. I'm going to some Club World Cup games. Bro. I'm going to some Club World Cup games this summer. Best of luck, Marcel. I'm jealous, man. For me, I think Arteta needs to lighten the load on Odegaard by balancing the midfield. I hear it. I hear that, DG, but if that's his mentality, then we really need to get him off the captaincy. Listen, Odegaard wouldn't be my captain in the most respectful way. I like you as a footballer. I do think you've got one of the most complicated systems. I don't feel you should just turn the player. I don't feel stripping him of the captaincy today is going to help anything. But at the end of the day, you just need to do the business. Yes, not having Saka, not having Havertz, the relationships, the demands and the complications that Arteta places on you. Arteta, I think there's a tax that has to be applied to all of our attackers, whether they're good or not, because of our problems with low blocks and us not being. I feel Arteta needs to arrest a lot of stuff in the final third. There's a lot of luxuries, but at the end of the day, Odegaard needs to get it back together, because when you were shining, these things were said, but they weren't as loud. You're one of the most experienced players. You're the captain. It don't matter what you think or what I think. At the end of the day, the man's been named captain in it. So he's clearly got some heavyweight stuff in that dressing room. Get to it. I personally think he's still carrying with an injury, but tired, man. Was not 6 months for Jesus. It was 3 months. World Cup was in November. Fair enough. But you get what I mean? The initial period. And that's what sucks about the Gabriel Jesus injury, and that injuries are never good, but it didn't happen in an Arsenal shirt. And then it was the beginning of the end. And then, yeah, Jesus has been shit for many a year. And I wouldn't go as far as to say he was turning a corner and that, but his form was getting there. And then he's got another ACL. And, you know, I hope he returns, man. 2 ACL injuries is harsh, man. We need to cast our net from early at Toulouse and Ajax's of the world. Look at us now having to spend an arm and a leg for squad players. It's only going to get worse. Dane, one love. Cube, comment again. I don't know why you're not a moderator on the platform, but next comment I see, I'll make you a moderator. Big up, DG. It's crazy. We don't have a gunman striker, though. Throughout the years, 90% of the time this club had a gunman. Mikel really shot himself in the foot. Club has shot themselves in the foot. Fine one, man, because God forbid, but if we don't sign a striker this summer and we fast forward to next summer, there's going to be the new Vlahovic and Osimhen and Hugo Ekitike and Gyökeres and this one that we're all going to be linked with. My point is they've got to start somewhere. Like, you've got to take a chance at some point. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Marino isn't on Partey's wages, you reckon? Give Marino another year. There's the 30-year-old people want. Marino's not going nowhere. Marino's calm for the squad, in my opinion. Allow this party at right back, please. Apologies for taking you out the football world, DG. No, you can. Okay, you're always here, man. Don't feel any sort of way. Just keen to hear your thoughts. Which principle do you value more, consistency or resilience? Whew, good question. Bloody hell. That really threw me off. Bloody hell, man. You know, man, I need to stand up and walk around for a second and ponder that. Consistency or resilience? They kind of interlapped. Resilience. They're kind of two birds of the same feather, though. Resilience. They're two birds of the same feather, though. I'd say resilience, though. But they can you really have consistency without resilience? Because it's easy to, like, let's take Odegaard, for example. Like, when his season, like, one thing that annoys me about fans is, even myself, like, we can criticize, and sometimes players are not trying, but we can criticize players, yeah, like Martinelli's decision making, Odegaard's performances. Do we really think that they're not evidently watching their games again, trying to fix these things? Obviously, it's not happening, and we can only praise and critique fairly, and we only see surface level. We see clips of you like training. We don't see you lot in the dressing room. We don't see all the isms and schisms beyond the documentary as to what further things you're doing. We just see it. So when it's all going well, like when everything was working, using Odegaard or Martinelli as an example, like it's easy to be consistent, doing the training and all that, putting in the hard graft. If you fast forward to the current climate, and let's just say they're continuing to do that, in which you could caveat that and say maybe they need to go about it a different way. But if they're continuously same way doing these things, trying to learn, but they're not getting the results, you do need that resilience, because your head's gonna drop. So I'd say resilience, man. I'd say resilience, because you need resilience to be consistent. Like, it'd be a lie. Like, the man think, we all see Cristiano Ronaldo ice bath and jogging and mad stuff. I very much doubt whether it's him, Tom Brady, Michael Phelps, Usain Bolt, Floyd Mayweather, who used to go out raving and then start jogging. I very much doubt every morning that they've ever woken up in their lives they wanted to do that. Like, obviously, it's like going gym, in it. You don't want to go to the gym every day, every gym session. But if you only did things in this life when you want to, where would we all be? So I'd say resilience. That's a good question. I'd say resilience. But then you could be a resilient person and have no consistency. Pardon me, but I'd say resilience. Good question. Gabriel's undergone surgery. Gabriel needs surgery. Just seen it on Sky. Where is it? Cause I can't see nothing, man. Now you see why I got a million tabs. 3 o'clock, we're here with Jess again as well, people. It's true. Well, Ian Wright was right, man. That's your season done, bro. It's calm, man. It's cool, man. It's calm. Now do people understand 400 million down the drain? We get one back, we lose another one. 3 hamstring injuries requiring surgery. They are doing nonsense in training. It's the hamstring ones as well, because it's predictable, because it's the more durable players, bro. It's the ones that have had to do that, innit? Like the Gabriel Magalhaes, the Havertz, the Sakas, the Martinellis in particular, and anyone else I'm missing out. Even to a degree, Juri and Timber. Well, it's peak. And could you imagine if we were still in the Premier League shout? If we still had the FA Cup to contend with? If only we had depth, eh? Injury update, Gabriel Magalhaes. Further to being substituted during our match against Fulham on Tuesday, we can confirm that Gabriel Magalhaes has sustained a hamstring injury which requires surgery. Gabriel will undergo a surgical repair procedure to his hamstring in the coming days and immediately begin his recovery and rehabilitation program with the aim to be ready for the start of next season. Everyone at the club will be fully focused on supporting Gabby to ensure he's back to full fitness as soon as possible. So it'd be interesting to see Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz in particular at the start of next season. Well, it's your time, Kivio. I can talk about shifting White over there, shifting Timber over there, Declan Rice over there. It's your time, Kivio, innit? Man, I'm going to Real Madrid with no striker, No striker, half-fit star boy, young players ran into the ground. When life throws you lemons, make some Hennessy, innit? But if it was Hennessy, it's got to be drunk and straight, man. No mixer. It's like you knew it was the case, but it still makes that news disappointing nonetheless. Big up you lot in the chat for keeping me up to date with anything emerging. I mean, Mikel Arteta did say the good thing with Kivio, and I was in the press conference for this. The good thing with Jacob Kivio is that he's been very reliable. Every time we need him, he's always there. He's available and does his job. We ask him to play as a left centre back, right centre back, left full back. He's ready. He's got a smile on his face. Injuries have undermined Arsenal's season, but Mikel Arteta must take blame. Gabriel Jesus, he is injured, but Gabriel Magalhaes is the latest in a long line of injuries which has cursed Arsenal's season. The Brazil defender pulled up, clutching his hamstring in his right leg in the 2-1 win over Fulham, and is set to miss both legs of the Champions League quarter-final with Real Madrid. And away from the obvious reasons, the selfish reasons, because he's one of our best players. We all know the climate. We need him. Feel sorry for him. You've been here when we were shit. Like, you fight whatever way the Real Madrid game panned out. At least you was there. You've been about. You've been part of the trenches. These games kind of show the progress that we still have to go, but that we've made. So it sucks for Magalhaes. And bro, you're one of the only ones that I know is on this thing. But nonetheless, we know it's come out now that he's going to require surgery. He underwent scans, people. We've seen an official update today, people. Crucially, John Cross has said, does it beg the question as to why Arsenal have had so many injuries this season, and particularly bad hamstring injuries? It is naive to regard it as purely bad luck. It is. It is. Only those with vested interests at the football club are not going to be honest about this. The demands of the players are unforgiving, and the workload on them chasing the Premier League title, the Champions League, 2 domestic cups, and internationals is just too much. Bukayo Saka, Kai Havertz, Martinelli, and now Gabriel have all suffered significant hamstring injuries this season. Saka was out for 3 months, and the injury list has been way longer when you take in Ben White, Gabriel Jesus, and Calafiori, who are all currently sidelined. Hasn't even mentioned Tomiyasu yet, which I can't blame journalists for forgetting Tommy's at the club, unfortunately. Timber is hoping his knee injury is not serious, but he could not complete the game against Fulham, and the club are desperate for him to face Real Madrid. White's knee issue flared up in training. He has been recovering from surgery, and his load is having to be managed as he comes back again. There is hope he could be ready. Hope. They also say it's the hope that kills. The problems run deeper. If you look at the players who have suffered significant injuries this season, they have all played huge amounts of games, not just this season, but the 2 previous years. Are you not surprised? Smash the like button if you're not surprised. Are you not surprised? This is just, and it's nothing to do with John Cross, but this is just fancy talk for people, for people to say like we stumbled upon this. We've been knowing this, but there's no point getting frustrated, man. Like, it is what it is now. Like, if nothing changes, nothing changes. Arsenal have been full on for 3 years, and chasing down Man City in the past 2 seasons has clearly taken a toll. And this season, you're seeing the effects, but you cannot dismiss it as just bad luck. The players all look tired, overworked, and vulnerable. Gabriel has played a staggering 49 games this season for club and country. There needs to be a full review of the global calendar. Kai Havertz, before he got injured while in warm weather training camp in Dubai, had played 38. There's been no rest for Saka, who tore his hamstring in December, but his previous 2 years had been unforgiving and with no rest. And I hate to be that guy. We need to wrap Declan Rice in cotton wool, because you're the next one I think of where all of these injuries are concerned. You're the next one that's been like that kind of thing, if it makes sense. So yeah, we just I don't know, people, we're fucked in it, really. Like, we're fucked, right? You know what I mean? Anyways, along the line, there's been a question mark over whether these players are being overtrained and also overplayed, because Arteta's squad is not as deep as some of their rivals. I don't think it's an overtrained thing. Man are being overplayed. It's a quality in a manager to know when to rest players and when to tamper down training. And I don't want to be overcritical, but Lewis Skelly looks shattered against Fulham. Why not just bring on Tierney? Because the thing, and we can see there's a dumb goal via that, because that's the same thing I saw from Mikel Arteta. It's different, but again, I want my manager to get over the line. It's about these fine margins. That same kind of principle, you go back 2 years ago, where he only took off Zinchenko, and you know when he started crying at Anfield, where we all could remember that game and like, yo, the inverted fullback thing is great. This is Anfield. Traditional defender, see out the game now. Like, Arteta, everybody at the club, bro, like, this is a serious season of reflection for the players, because they're the ones playing on the injury front, on the recruitment front, on all of that kind of front. Arteta and his culture staff have to do their own deliberation. Berta and his team have to do their own thing. Arteta, your extended coaching staff, Berta and everybody in between, the Garlicks, the Tim Lewis's, all these guys, you don't need to link up, because we need quality additions, we need quantity, and we need our manager on the field to find solutions, and we need him to learn these lessons, because players have been ran into the ground. We've been owed this. As fucked as it is, and I'm not suggesting for a second that Arsenal are putting players out there to get hurt on purpose. You'd be a dickhead to assume that. But is anyone surprised based on what we've seen with Benjamin White since he signed for this club? Bukayo Saka since he's become the star boy and then some. Gabriel Magalhaes for the minutes played. Kai Havertz for the minutes played. Martinelli for the minutes played. Nobody is surprised by any of the hamstring injuries in particular. It is very stupid if we're just going to sit here and say it's just luck. It's stupid. Anyways, man. Even Timber. I love Timber's season. I love what he's brought to the table. But coming off the back of an ACL, he's played a lot of minutes. Small squad, 4 games, 4 competitions, sorry. Small squad, 3 games every 10 days, twice a week for 7 days. It takes anything from 24 to 72 hours to recover from games. This is not surprising. You have not fixed the roof while the sun is shining. And now it's pleading down. Now it's not even just raining through our leaky roof. The house is flooded. Now we want to talk about fixing roofs. Now we want to talk about prevention. Prevention is better than cure. But as I keep saying, if nothing changes, man. Everybody's got to take responsibility, bro. Everyone's got to take responsibility. Anyways, man, Arsenal eyes summer move for Athletic Bilbao's Nico Williams after initial talks. Arsenal are exploring a summer move for Athletic Bilbao's Nico Williams. Berta has held talks with the Spain forwards reps in one of his first acts as club sporting director. It's understood Berta, who was confirmed in his post last Sunday and attended Tuesday's 2-1 win against Fulham, has met the 22-year-old's agent Felix Tainter. Arsenal have heavily scouted Williams for the past 2 years and are believed to have considered a move for him last summer, only to be informed that he wanted to remain at Athletic for another season. We all know he did well in the Euros. And in the Europa League, his team are in the quarterfinals. They face Rangers. He's expected allegedly to push for a move this summer. Barcelona, who also tried to sign Williams last summer, Bayern Munich and Chelsea are also believed to be in the race, with his release clause thought to be set at around 58 million euros, in brackets 48.4 million. Arsenal's long-term interest and the role of Berta, formerly sporting director at Atletico Madrid, could persuade him to move to North London. Arsenal are also in the market for a striker and have identified Sporting Lisbon's Victor Gyökeres as a more realistic target than his Sweden teammate Isaac. They've also heavily scouted Benjamin Sesko of Leipzig. The Sociedad midfielder Martin Zubimendi is expected to complete a 50.2 million move, with Partey and Jorginho likely to depart when their contract expires. It's unclear what budget Berta will have, but there are likely to be more departures as Mikel Arteta attempts to refresh his squad. The manager said on Monday he was looking forward to a big summer working with Berta, extending the contracts of Bukayo Saka, William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes, whose deals expire in 2027, is a priority. Meanwhile, well, our fears have been answered because Gabriel Magalhaes is done for the season. We don't know that to be true. Let me be fair, but come on, man. If you're having surgery in April, it's done, bro. Like your season's done, and it's upsetting for Gabriel Magalhaes because I expect to see him named as our player of the season, but it is what it is. Allegedly, again, everybody is saying that a meeting took place in the last few days between Nico Williams reps and Andrea Berta. Arsenal started conversations with Sporting regarding the signing of Gyökeres, says reports. Allegedly, Ornstein has also weighed in and said Andrea Berta's arrival has made Sporting's Victor Gyökeres a really strong candidate to join this summer, which wasn't necessarily the case prior. The Italian rates him extremely highly, dating back to his time at Atletico Madrid. Once again, this account rising star 11 was the first to break Quenda to Chelsea. So again, if talks have really begun for Gyökeres, we'll have to see. David Ornstein did say we're developing a strong interest in the days that followed Berta's announcement. People, Arsenal striking options: Gyökeres, Sesko, Watkins, Cunha compared. Arteta is preparing for his 6th summer transfer window as manager, and after the disappointment of this year's winter window, attention will fall towards an additional forward this winter, or is there more than that? Again, we got Trossard, Havertz, Marino. They've all played up front. We know we're at with Jesus. We know we've been linked with Gyökeres, Cunha, Sesko, Isaac, and Ollie Watkins. Okay, this is more of a think piece. We know about Gyökeres' intelligence, and I'm actually going to get some videos made for you lot in that regard, so we're not going to bother reading this, but it's the same old people. That could be useful footage. Ornstein did say that Hugo Ekitike is not currently known to be high on Arsenal's radar. His name being touted everywhere suggests there's some pretty heavy lifting going on from either an agent or Eintracht Frankfurt people. There's a case that Arsenal's striker search is being driven by different aspects of the club. While Mikel Arteta admires Alexander Isak, Andrea Berta is a fan of Victor Gyökeres, and Eddie's pre-existing department are working on Benjamin Sesko. So is there too many chefs in the kitchen messing up the curry goat? I don't know. That's just me looking at Osimhen. Sesko has now reached 18 goals for Leipzig for the third consecutive year, people. Despite their manager being sacked and them having a poor season, he's still delivering. And you'd imagine he won't be a Leipzig player next season. All the interrogation we have done suggests that Arsenal expect Zubamendi to arrive in the summer, said Ornstein on a podcast. Again, we've been monitoring him for a few years, but have been attentive to his desire. Aito has gone to great lengths surrounding the situation, and Arsenal are now working on the basis that he will come to North London. Is he going to listen to Berta or them to Aito or them Real Madrid dons? I don't know, people. Striker is a priority, but not the only priority position. They have long wanted a wide attacker / winger. Midfield needs to be addressed. They're going to need 1 or 2 goalies, with Neto going back and Setford potentially being loaned. I did cover this yesterday, but allegedly Arsenal stepped up their efforts to sign goalkeeper Garcia from Espanyol. Leverkusen, Barcelona and Atletico Madrid, allegedly, as well as us, have all expressed a firm interest in signing the 23-year-old, and apparently he's shown a willingness to accept the challenge of competing for the number 1 slot at Arsenal with compatriot David Raya. We all know if Espanyol get relegated, his release clause could drop to around 13 million. If they stay up, it rises or stays at 22 million. Apparently it increases if he gets capped for Spain as well. I mean, Berta, I'm sure you are well aware, you being Italian, I hope we do the Italian marketing. I hope we start doing the South American stuff, but you worked for Atletico Madrid for 12 years. Whether you're there or not, you must know all the La Liga players, or you must have trusted sources whose opinions you value. So there isn't any coincidence why we're linked with these guys. And where you look at Nico Williams, Sesko, Gyökeres, Garcia, Zubamendi, I'm probably missing out someone. Is there any coincidence that all these guys have release clauses? You'd be naive if you think Arsenal are just going to trigger all of those release clauses, because all the money has to be paid up in full. That tells us a ballpark figure. We can negotiate around that, dot I's, cross T's, and schedule payments in a way that makes sense for us, people. If Garcia is the one, bring him in it. Simple as that. The Spanish media allegedly fully expect Arsenal to sign Garcia. Don't know if you'd take too much in that. And this rises, it says his release clause is 25 to 30 million. Arsenal are unwilling to pay that much, people. How long would he want to be the number 2, people? How long would he want to be the number 2? He has 74 appearances for Espanyol and Espanyol B. How much for their first team? 23 years of age. How long do you want to be the number 2? Now, the ITKs of this world are saying Garcia had his bags packed on deadline day last summer with a verbal agreement for a move to Arsenal in place, which, remember, we signed Neto on deadline day. Despite the move falling, contact has remained throughout the season, and Arsenal view him as their number 1 target, people. Allegedly, Liverpool are pushing to finalize an agreement to sign Hugo Ekitike. Apparently, Liverpool are rival in Arsenal United. Now, we just saw Ornstein is either saying Frankfurt are trying to drive up a bidding war, or the agents doing a madness. And there probably is an element of legitimate interest from all of these clubs. This is the transfer business, people. This France under 21 international has 19 goals and 8 assists in 39 appearances across all comps. All of these clubs have been linked with him. Apparently, Ekitike has reportedly revealed that Liverpool, a source close is saying Liverpool are pushing. Liverpool need a forward like us. Everyone would like Isaac. We just can't afford him. And Newcastle simultaneously going to price him out of a move. Who is this? Arsenal been linked with Anthony. You know what? At least it made us chuckle with what we saw with Gabriel Magalhaes in it. Trust. Rudiger is a doubt for Arsenal's match for Real Madrid, because Real Madrid fear he could be suspended by UEFA. This is after Atletico Madrid complained about Rudiger, Ceballos, Mbappe and Vinicius Junior celebrations at the Melapochetal. Atletico Madrid crying. Stop snitching, man. Football's gone too well. We know we play Everton on the weekend. They have a run of, well, prior to losing to Liverpool yesterday, which they were unlucky, they had a run of 9 consecutive games unbeaten, people. So it further confirms what we know about David Moyes. He's on crud. Arsenal, Newcastle, Chelsea and Manchester United allegedly are all in the race to sign Vlahovic, with a 25-year-old set to leave Juventus this summer. How good would it be to have Isaac, though, even though we know it's not going to happen? Back-to-back 20-plus Premier League goals for him. And counting as well, you know. Remember, people said at the start he's having a slow season. Arteta, I'm with you. I'd love him. If Newcastle qualify for the Champions League, the Alexander is at transfer saga is a non-issue. This close season, he would likely staying regardless, in my opinion. We have been linked with Leroy Sané. I think Arsenal's name is just being thrown around for contract stuff. Apparently, he's determined to stay at Bayern and is ready to sign a contract with significantly lower wages. Bayern bosses appreciate Sané's stance, but their opinions are still divided over offering him a new contract. His chances depend on maintaining his form in the coming weeks, people. So we'll have to watch that closely. Once again, Arsenal Man United and Liverpool are all hot on Hugo Ekitike. He'll cost 80+ million euros this summer. PSG have a 20% sell-on clause according to Blind. Arsenal scouting 30 million creative winger with excellent vision. So we're still linked with Yeremy Hernandez. Don't think that's a level raiser, but why not, man? He's a 22-year-old. He was on the books at Real Madrid. Obviously, it didn't work out for him. He's playing for Deportivo in the second division. Team Talker said Arsenal sent scouts to watch him. He's been linked with Arsenal and Chelsea in particular before, so there probably is some level of interest. But scouting and watching a player doesn't necessarily mean you're going to buy someone. He's got 11 goals and 4 assists in the second division over there in Spain, people. So we'll have to see. And apparently Fulham, that's a third club. Fulham have been thrown into the mix. Leicester apparently have had a look. Brentford have had a look. Pardon me. So we'll have to see exactly what's going to happen there, man. But why not? The Anthony stuff is killing me, man. Are Arsenal's contract renewals as important as new signings this summer? 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. It's one thing getting talent. It's another thing improving talent and retaining talent. Two aspects in English football, which I think, because the job to do everything is just to throw money at stuff. If you buy one striker and it don't work, throw money. I think football fans fail to understand. If we need to retain, it's as important bringing in gunmen as getting Saka to this point and improving him, getting Saliba to this point and improving him, getting Gabriel Magalhaes to this point and improving him. Then you marry the quality. Again, we're not getting Isaac, but you bring in a Isaac, you bring in a Nico Williams, you've got Rice, you bring in a certain midfielder next to him for a long-term partnership. Put Rice back as a 6, and Bob could be your uncle, man. I mean, I was keen on the Hugo Ekitike thing, and again, as I was saying, with the rebuild and what did I call it? A rebuild or a revamp? 11 stars facing transfer exit as Andrea Berta bids to bolster spending power. I can't lie, Berta. It's as good as you can hustle, you know, because these are not, a lot of these guys are not easy sells. The players that would be easy sells, quote unquote, we don't want them to go. We don't want to sell Wanyeri, Lewis Skelly, Bukayo Saka. Who else is there? Gabriel Magalhaes, you get where I'm going, that kind of thing. We don't want to sell them. Like, we can all say it's fun and games, moving on from Tomiyasu, Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko, Kivior, Trossard, Zinchenko, yada, yada, yada. But it's one thing saying they need to go, they're not good enough. It's another thing actually being able to do that. And Berto, I recognize you're just one man. You can't do everything. I can't expect you to engage in serious contract negotiations or let alone free. Get rid of few players, bring in players, bearing in mind, it sounds good, and we do need to do that, and he does have a team. But if he has to spend a day negotiating with a player in Spain or a couple of players in Spain, then has to go to Italy, then has to travel for talks to Saudi to have some talks around players are leaving, it's a lot in it. And I think next season is where I'm going to be like, all right, cool, but I just want to see you get some outgoings. If we need to pivot and we don't get the guys that we're led to believe come in, I don't want to hear about powder dry. Get the renewals done, and maybe show an ability to say, do you know what? I hear you want Sesko, but maybe Gyökeres is the right one, just as an example. I don't know, but this is, again, another thing that's telling us stuff we already know, really. We know Sterling's gone. We know Neto's gone. We know on paper, Kieran Tierney, Jorginho, Thomas Partey are gone. The others. So there's 11 players that could be up for sale. Obviously, Sterling and Neto are gone. I said there. Jorginho seems like he's going back to Brazil. Tierney's set to return to Celtic. Berta has been tasked with improving the transfer fees Arsenal receive when selling. Yeah, last season was a step in the right direction, but we need to get better at doing that 1,000,000%. And I'm not dissing Marino. I'm not dissing Kai Havertz. I'm not dissing Zinchenko. I'm not dissing Gabriel Jesus. But with how it's played out, all the talking points, maybe we've identified talent wrongly. And then also we've had Edu not hustling properly. Like, I'm not dissing Mikel Marino, but a year left on his deal at 28, 130 grand. He's laughing. And that's not Kai Havertz laughing. Chelsea are laughing. £5 million loss on the man. And that's not to say Kai hasn't been okay for us and better than we thought and still not the answer. But 5 million loss on what Chelsea got. 5 million loss. He scored the Champions League winning goal. You say, you know what, that was worth 5 million. 65 million, big contract. Kai's laughing. He stays in London. He's valued by the manager. I think his day-to-day reputation at Arsenal is a lot better than it was at Chelsea. He's on big money, got a family, team love you. Is peak. If we sign, we know we need a squad. So it's, again, the quality versus quantity kind of thing we've been referring to. But at some point, we're going to have to review this. Because if you bring in a striker and 2 midfielders, we're even led to believe, some reports say 2, what's going on with Kai? No, Arteta said he could play out wide. Let's not give the manager any crazy ideas. Zinchenko is expected to pursue a new challenge in light of Miles Lewis Skelly's standout season. It's crazy how life works out, isn't it? Like, for all of Zinchenko's faults, that debut season, him doing his thing in the inverted left back role, to a centre, ironically, a centre mid becoming a left back, someone who's been a professional footballer at this level for 8 months. Big up Lewis Kelly has rubbed you out. It's cold. Dortmund were interested in the Ukrainian in January, but never tabled an offer. So for all the speculation, nothing was risen up. Completely off topic, but Xhaka was. Did you see Xhaka's row with the Bayern Leverkusen fans? Kivior, who came off the bench early in the first half of Tuesday's win against Fulham, is also set to depart in search of regular playing time. The poll has attracted a long list of suitors from Italy, with French giants Marseille also among his admirers. Tavares is set to seal a permanent switch to Lazio. Again, we heard there's an obligation. Sevilla have a buy option on Lokonga. Whether they're going to take us up on that or try and negotiate that lower is another thing. Apparently, they're keen to keep him, but are not currently likely to trigger the clause as they intend to negotiate a slightly below that fee. What did we say? For some of you that were here, what did we say last summer? We said that was going to happen. Should they U-turn and pay up, Arsenal would hold a 25% sell-on clause that would entitle them to a future profit. Partey's leaving and we're still linked with Cunha, ironically. Nelson could also be headed for the exit door, but his current priority is returning to full fitness after undergoing a hamstring surgery in February. He's made just 13 appearances this season. So is it a thing at 25? He goes out on loan again. Arsenal briefly explored the possibility of recalling Fabio Vieira from his loan. It never happened. Arsenal had high hopes. It hasn't banked for him. He's got just 5 goals and 4 assists over there, people. If Arsenal get the chance to recoup a credible fee in the coming months, they surely will take it, given Vieira will only have 2 years left on his deal. We might just send him out on loan and park that off. There's also an element of doubt over the futures of Trossard and Tomiyasu, but both could yet stay put. Again, Trossard's in the final 12 months of his deal. We rejected Saudi prior to that. Arsenal had planned to offer Trossard a new contract, but an agreement is yet to have been reached, sparking obvious speculation. Tomiyasu is rated by Arteta, but you've played just 6 minutes. There's no way of shaping that. That's unacceptable, people. So it's a madness. And the Crystal Palace and Liverpool fixtures have been moved, people. We were due to face the Eagles at the Emirates Stadium on Saturday the 26th, but they got to the semi-finals. Must be nice being in cup competition. That's been moved to Wednesday the 23rd, people, with an 8 p.m. kickoff. The same broadcasters have also selected our trip to Liverpool the following month for live transmission, which sees the game at Anfield moved to Sunday, May the 11th, with a 4:30 start, people. All for TV rights, isn't it? Really and truly. Where is it as well, people? Where is it? Because there was player of the month. Well, either way, there is player of the month has come out as well at Arsenal. Where is it? There it is. Player of the month. Who we voting for? You going for Mikel Merino, double M? I don't know if his performances up front have shown maybe Kai Havertz up front is overrated, or really what we're doing as a football club. It's been his best period, man. Big up Mikel Merino. Probably should be him. Could it be Wanyeri? I think he's a well-deserved candidate. Declan Rice, I think, is found in his feet. Wouldn't quite give it to Decky Boy, but I think he's been good. Timber, I think, has a shout. Sorry, people. I give it Merino. Because I feel I've given Timber plenty of flowers throughout the season. Been bigging up Wanyeri at any given opportunity. Been fighting Declan Rice's case and all of that. And no disrespect to Merino, because I've also been telling people to lay off him, but the expectation I have on Timber, on Rice, and Wanyeri is a lot higher than yours. So, and that's not their fault, because if I was holding them to the same standards, maybe I'll pick someone else. I give it Merino, man. Only Mohamed Salah scored more than you at this moment in time. I give that to you, man. I gave it to Rice. I'd say Rice. Think Wenger wins with this squad. But I'm going to sell all the man I want sold. His magnum opus moment will be when he sells Havertz. Told man this game, never cared for how experienced one was, only how talented one is. Lewis Skelly overtaking Zinchenko whilst a teenager is a perfect example. It's probably the exception rather than the rule, but generally, yeah. At the end of the day, no matter where you shape it is, are you good enough on the football pitch or not? DG, you're not trying to rewrite history with this question. However, do you think Wenger would? How do you think Wenger would do with this current squad Arteta has built? I don't know, because I don't think there's a world where you see Kai Havertz for 65 million and the skill set of Havertz, just like with Declan Rice, for the purely for the price tag. I think there'd be less injuries, and I think we would have won an FA Cup in the last 3 years. I can't say Wenger would have necessarily got over the line, and I don't think our top 6 record would be where it is. Rice at centre back and the drop off at the back isn't as bad, just in midfield. And then remember, he's playing in that 8 role, whether we want it or not. There's going to be a drop off on whatever Arteta demands. Kai isn't even close to worth 208 grand a week, though. To be fair, it's the club's fault. No one put a gun to his head. Gabriel, tactical injury. to tell them Saudi lot to do one. We need a strong bench too. How many times did we have Keown, Edu, Parla, Reyes, RIP, Wiltord, and Kanu do a job for us as backups? That starts with having a strong 11. Tell them again. I'll never forgive the board for giving Tommy that contract extension. I think he deserved it, and they could clearly recognize it because he didn't get it. If injuries weren't a problem with Tommy Asu, he probably would have been given an even longer contract, man. I think out of all the things I'm vexed with the club, I wouldn't say that. Spain, Italy, and Germany raid France for their talent. Arsenal need to do same. We should sign Osimhen, Zubamendi, and Williams. We need to tap into the French market. That's where the ballers are. I want the manager to take some accountability, state that he went into the season with a thin squad and overplayed these man. Saying nonsense like we are here despite injuries means nothing. It means something to me on one hand in that you're right, but that's where I agree with you, because once you say that, what does it mean? Because despite that, are we on course to achieve any of our goals in August or in pre-season when all these lads came in and we said what we wanted to do in the season, whether that's reach this stage of the competition, score X amount of goals, X amount of clean sheets, win this trophy, that trophy? Are we on course for any of that? So cool. Yeah, many teams would have fallen off. Many of them would. So I credit you lot for keep going. But this ain't Coach Carter. This ain't Mighty Ducks. This ain't training. This ain't none of them things there. This ain't glorious loser stuff. Need to get over the line. There's no point having this. There's, like I said, I think there's a foundation. I do think there's elements of grit and determination, but it doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't. Don't forget all the international tournaments and pre-season North London derbies halfway across the world. We need an exhibition squad and a competitive one. To be fair, we all know pre-season, like playing Man United in pre-season and Spurs in pre-season is not going to be the same as the Prem, man. Like I'm not concerned about that. It's more the fact that this ain't going to change anytime soon, bro. This ain't going to change anytime soon in terms of the fixture calendar list. It's only going to get worse. So how can we prepare ourselves? Kivio, if you've ever wanted to stick it to the haters, it must be more than bad luck. It's a cheat. It's a cop out to just say bad luck. It's a cop out to say bad luck because again, when like last season, Arteta said a couple of times we've got one of the smallest squads. So when everyone was relatively fit, we knew this was a factor. And there's been a couple of times this season where we have looked out of gas. I was watching Troop stream the Arsenal game, and when Big Gabby went down, Troops kept repeating Kivio at the Bernabeu like he saw a ghost. And the baddest thing is, I hear it, man. That's the mentality monster in a hospital bed now. What a mood dampener. Season done, Karma. For real, season done, man. This man said it's over, expressed his voice. Gabby's done. I reckon he'll be back for next season. I don't think he'll be back in pre-season, but he's done now, man. Like, he's done, bro. It's over with. It's over, bro. Spot on. Resilience shows up during the tough times. I feel like it tests your character more, but yes, it's two principles that are closely linked indeed. Shout out to philosophers, man. More often than not, the game state has to be fixed in real time. In the match, there's no option of watching the film later. Watching the Newcastle film is a waste of time now. Big Gabby is a warrior and a fighter. I rate Odegaard, but from what I see, Gabby is always, I thought he'd make a good captain. You can be consistently unresilient. You can only be consistent if you have resilience. I agree and disagree because I know many people that are consistent, but they don't have resilience. But then again, I agree because it feels a bit stupid to say you haven't got that. Because some people are consistent in bad stuff. You don't need resilience to be a drug addict. Like there's consistency in that. You don't need consistency to have poor money management. Like, so it all depends where we're going with that. Marino isn't anything close to par as a footballer. Yeah. Well, big up. I think Marino's cool, man. I just think our problem is when it became clear we had a limited budget. Like, I do think last summer, if you couldn't do the quality and the quantity, I think we needed to get level raisers. And I think Marino's good for the squad. I don't think he was that level raiser because we still have more questions than answers generally. Arteta said we have a thin squad after the Villa game in August and way before that as well. The club messed up. They knew we had more games and left us with less players than last season. Everyone needs to take blame. Tell them again. This injury list just ramps up the necessity of buying a new defender in the summer. Saliba and Lewis Skelly are the only defenders in the squad who haven't had surgery yet. Cross everything that remains the case. I would love Ryan Cherky, but myth. Wenger gave players freedom. We'd definitely be more entertained. Wenger does at least a double with this squad. Arteta is way too timid to explore what these players can actually do. I disagree. I don't think he does it with this squad. I think maybe he would have got over the line last year, but then I haven't seen any evidence in the Emirates era to suggest that. And also, I think Wenger would make us play with more freedom, but we wasn't focused on all the other aspects that we are as a club now, the defensive resilience to the point where, and all the other stuff. Ultimately, we're living by the standards that the club has reset, because I don't agree with Arteta's installed standards. We're a massive club. I think if Arteta's installed anything, he's reminded everyone that this is a massive club. Teams do the low block thing against us. Teams don't give us no space. We're very competitive against the top six. We're living by the standards we've set. Our problem is we've gone from here, like up here is where we want to be, right? Up here is where we want to be. We was down there. So we've gone from here to there. Well, we've gone for up's where we want to go. Down here is where we was. We want to do that, right? We've gone from down here to here. Where we want to go is here. Everything we've done great, pat ourselves on the back, but how do we get there? In fact, it's more like this. It's more like this. We're so close. But you see that little drop, it might as well be that big, because that's the amount of little things that we need to do to close that gap and breach that glass ceiling. This has been a year of stagnation and complacency across all aspects. Reactive in January, reactive in the summer. And I'm not going to say we saw it play out like this and Merino up front and the young kids emerging and the way we've dropped points and 2 cup competition exits in a week. But it did feel like in August we were kicking a can up the road, man. Even going back to the Villa away game, as someone said. Squad was too thin going into the season. We've been unlucky with we've been lucky with Gabriel and Saliba until now. So frustrating. Very frustrating. Wenger gets us over the line over these last 3 seasons. I don't know, man. Ozil was his most expensive signing. Yep. Because I don't think Wenger valued all the other defensive aspects that have helped us. I just wish Wenger could call Arteta and say, let me just tweak some things only in the final third. Like Wenger, if we could just chat to them in the final third, just a bit of talent ID and the final third and let Arteta carry on, we could be all right, man. But we're at. Owners barely invested in the squad while paying off the Emirates, which is also true. But yeah, people, man, with that being said, I'm just conscious of the time. The good news is I'm back again at 3 p.m, people. I'm going to have Jess here. So it's a chance for me to shut up and to get her thoughts. So I'll see you lot then. As usual, my long-term supporters, my members, my moderators, the commenters, the silent viewers, those of you no doubt watching on the replay, big up yourselves. If you haven't smashed the like button, please make sure you do. One love.